Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Bible Ponder for this and the coming weeks. As I said last week, we're going to be doing something a bit new with this space and trying something different. The way we're going to do that is by starting a new series. So we'll do blocks of Bible ponders that all center around one theme or idea that will lead to a sort of larger discussion at the end. And that will give us more content to kind of sink our teeth into and discuss together. And it will make our discussions broader, but also richer and deeper and more fruitful, hopefully. The new series that we're going to be starting from this week is on the whole idea of biblical interpretation. This is something that's really close to my heart, something I find really interesting as well as really important. I think the whole process of it is fascinating. I think it appeals to my love of studying history and also getting into a bit of kind of mystery solving and detective work at times, and it kind of approaches things like a bit of a puzzle. And so I find it fun, I find it interesting, and I think that we can as well. I think one of the things that we need to remember when we're talking about biblical interpretation, and if you're hearing me and you're going, "Ooh, hold on, that sounds a bit much," we have to understand that all of us do this already. All of us are doing biblical interpretation, whether we like it or not, anytime we pick up the Bible and read. So this isn't just for scholars, this isn't just for ministers, this isn't just for people who are sort of above us in our way of thinking. All of us do it already. So it's going to be important and good for us all to learn a few things about how to do it. And ultimately, it'll help us be more confident and more ready to approach the text and get stuff out of the Bible and be able to hear more about what God has to say to us because we have these tools in place. So I think it's going to be important, I think it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to be fun. So the way we're going to approach this, today's video is just a bit of an introduction to the series as a whole. And then in the following 4 Wednesdays, we'll be looking at 4 different questions or themes that will guide the way we're talking and hopefully help us be more confident in our biblical interpretation. So the 4 areas are context, method, problems, and where do we go from here? Those are our 4 areas, and they center on these 4 questions. So the questions that go along with these 4 areas are these. First, context. What's happening around this text? What style of literature are we in? Are we looking at a bit of poetry? Are we looking at a psalm? Is this a gospel narrative? What kind of literature is this? The second bit of context is, what's the historical situation? Are we in the 1st century in Judea under Roman rule? Are we several centuries earlier in ancient Israel? Are we in ancient Egypt? Where are we? Where is this taking place? Are we in Greece? Are we near Rome? Where are we when this is taking place? And also, where are we in the Bible, in the whole story of the biblical narrative? Where are we? The second question that goes along with our second theme is method. And the second question is, how am I going to think about this text? So in other words, how are we going to approach it? What are we looking to get out of a text? Are we looking for a moral application for ourselves in our personal life? Are we looking for a message for the wider world, something that the Bible has to say to all of us? Are we looking just to understand history a bit more? Are we looking for some kind of nugget about what life was really like? Or are we looking for something more devotional, something to enrich us spiritually or to guide us or a wider group devotionally or kind of spiritual education? The third question that goes along with our third theme is problems. So what are our problems in the text? And the question is, what about X? So some of those questions are, How can we trust the Bible? What about where it came from? Why does this matter? And a third question that I find really interesting and important is, what about getting it right? And what about people who don't get it right? I think that's a really important question for us, especially in this day and age. And then our third theme, where do we go from here? The question that goes along with that, how does biblical interpretation impact the following three areas? How does biblical interpretation impact our personal lives, the future of the church, and the future of the world? Those are three areas that we need to look at. Where do we go from here and see how biblical interpretation impacts all of those things? So in the next 4 weeks, we're going to look at context, method, problems, and where do we go from here. Those are going to be the way that we approach biblical interpretation. Each week, I'll also have a few links of things that can be helpful resources for us. Maybe it's a website here or there, or places you can go to get more information. I'll also be posting links probably every week to different videos that have been produced by the Bible Project. And these are for free on YouTube. And we've used many of them before at Connect back in the olden days when we could meet together. But I'll link to maybe one or two of those every week that are helpful, just 5 or so minute videos that you can watch that will give you more information, or maybe even explain it a different way to the way I've explained it, and might help us just continue to enrich our learning and reinforce some of what we're doing. So keep an eye out for those links, those resources in the descriptions for the videos, and those will help you out as we go. And again, just keep mulling this over and take a look at those things. And then at the end, when we come together for a discussion, I think it'll be really interesting to get together and do that. Also, each week, I'll try and pick a text that serves as a really good example to illustrate what I'm talking about with each thing. So I'll pick something that we can take a really quick look at to show how either context is important, or method, or maybe some of the problems we get, or the where do we go from here kind of questions. So hopefully all of this will help give us more confidence and enrich our personal reading, as well as how we just approach the Bible as a church and as people in the world. So that's where we're going to go with the Bible Ponder. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a really great series. I think it's going to be helpful for me and for you, and it's going to be fun and interesting. So keep an eye out and join us next week for looking at context. We'll see you then. Have a good evening.